Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update, your daily source for everything cryptocurrency markets, trading, and news and technical analysis. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Today is September 13th, 2023, foul year of our Lord. Hopefully everybody is doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be in the world and however you happen to be watching this show today. We've got a lot so much to talk about. Obviously, getting a very beautiful reaction from Bitcoin off of support. And I've got a big update, I guess, essentially on our projections for where we think the market might go. I think that an opportunity has presented itself. I think that the liquidity has presented itself. And I think that the macroeconomic circumstances are such that we could anticipate and risk taking long positions for a push up higher through the end of the year, before we actually enter into the mid-cycle lull that will eventually put us down to our lows, our kind of final capitulation before the real bull market starts. All right. And either way, even if we're completely wrong about all this, and this is just all technical analysis hand-wringing, we'll at least be long and in the right direction. So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover overall the projections, the macro kind of perspective. I'm going to go over with you guys how you can take advantage of these things. If you agree with me, if you're inclined to follow my analysis, or if it aligns with some of your analysis. So there's lots of different ways that you can capitalize on market movements, right? There's lots of different ways to trade. You can options, futures, perpetual, spot, all these things. So I'm going to go over multiple strategies and how you guys can capitalize on this, as well as how to stay safe as we are kind of moving into the next phase of Bitcoin's price appreciation. We are not going to be covering altcoins and DeFi in too much depth today, but we are going to be covering the news, the scuttlebutt, and all the stuff you guys need to know. So with that out of the way, crank your leverage sliders to the right, get your positions ready, and let's get cracking, ladies and gentlemen. Gets me every time. Okay, let's get right to it, guys. We got a lot going on here, but we're going to simplify this all down. We've obviously been doing quite a bit of day trading, and let's start off with that. Let's start off with our copy trading update. We have been on a pretty nice tear, I'm not going to lie, for the copy traders. I know, listen, guys, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everybody trusting me and following along with me. Trading is up and down, and we were off to a rocky start as we started. It's a new platform. The copy trading thing was obviously new to me. So in our first month, we did suffer a 20% loss on the account. I have now, of course, brought that back. We are now back whole and climbing. So overall, 1473 in profit that I've made with this copy trading account. And we've done pretty well for the followers. So 1392 7-day follower profit. Still maintaining a nice hit rate, just looking for about 55%, because we are taking more 2-to-1 risk reward trades where we can win less often and still make quite a bit of money because our targets are farther than our stop loss. So as long as that is the case, and actually we have a higher hit rate than 50%, and we're still doing that. That's why things are pretty good. We've been on quite a bit of a tear this week because I am doing kind of the 1-minute challenge. And this is a very interesting thing that I want to talk about. Obviously in the past with crypto, I was very akin and very inclined toward the higher timeframes, and I still am. That is still the core of my teachings. But as I've always said, and I've mentored, thousands of students now over the last 5 years, these principles that I will teach you, these ideas of strategic trading, of constructing a strategy, of emotional discipline, of doing the math, of back testing, all of this stuff that is critical for my success applies to every time frame. And for the individuals out there who want to get that real gritty, nitty-gritty experience, go to the 1-minute time frame. Put $100 in your account, go to the 1-minute time frame and trade. Trade a lot on the 1-minute time frame, right? It is going to teach you what to do and what not to do. If you can grow on the 1-minute time frame, you're going to excel on every other time frame, because the market principles apply everywhere, right? Patience. What does this consolidation mean under this circumstance? What does this bounce mean under this circumstance? What is the market likely to do here? So not only are you going to build up your ability with a strategy to handle your emotions, because you're going to get so many signals, you're going to build up your strategy and how to stay true to your risk management and how to win over a series of trades. You're also going to be building your discretionary knowledge of how a particular market works. So I don't recommend going down there if you think you're going to get rich, but if you can go down to the 1 minute time frame and trade frequently and be successful in it, you're going to be successful in whatever you decide to trade. So that's what we're currently doing. We've definitely shifted our approach. We have increased the leverage that we're using because we're targeting much smaller movements now. So what we're doing right now is I'm using 5% of my account per trade with 25x leverage. So we've moved up from 7x leverage. 7x leverage I'll still use for swingier trades, that trades where I want my stop loss to be wider. But when I'm day trading, my risk is very, very tight. I'm using tight stop losses. I'm targeting predetermined movements, predetermined price levels, and I think that the way that I've got things set up are good. Now, you guys are going to have to adjust with me because Fairdesk is going to give you so much freedom in how you set your options. And I want to go over real quickly. I want to go over just here Fairdesk's new feature that they added for copy trading. They've added this, and this came up. You guys can join our Discord, and we have a Fairdesk support channel, so you can look in there. I've made a thread of this recent question. They've added a new button that you can click called Market Open. Market Open just means that if you enable Market Open, you will always attempt to enter into all my copy trades, even when the market is very volatile, and you might incur a lot of slippage from the few seconds from my entry until your entry processes. Okay, so you will, if you have this option enabled, you will always attempt to enter my trades regardless of slippage, right? Whereas by default, if you have this turned off, the way it normally works is if prices moved 0.1% away from my entry, you won't take the trade. The copy trade will fail and you won't enter, and that is to preserve your capital and to prevent you from taking a bad trade. Because if you get in at a worse price, you're going to get less outcome. You might even have a losing trade if the market is being completely erratical. So quick updates on that. Let's get back into what we were doing. All right. And of course, the link to copy trade me is, as always, down in the description. Of course, Fairdesk is having this massive second year anniversary trading competition with 1.8 million USDT up for grabs. A ton of cool prizes as well. So no, if you're going to be trading, no reason not to get involved. Make sure you click the trading competition, and you have to click participate, or otherwise you're not going to be counted in the leaderboards. You're not going to get any rewards if you do anything. So make sure you do that. Okay, with that out of the way, Bitcoin, and let's reset. We're going to go to the daily. And we do have quite a bit going on here, but what I want to talk about is just simply a couple of things that I noticed this morning in my analysis. The first thing I want to point out, and this is just very easy to see. Why do I always struggle with there we go. Because I don't usually draw on my chart. I'm an indicators guy, so I don't do much drawing. I'm not a lines guy typically. But if you take a real close look at this price action that we experienced back here in June, and if you take a look at the price action that we're currently experiencing now, I mean, I think it's very hard to dispute the similarities. All right. Bitcoin had kind of formed this head and shoulders pattern back in April, moving into May. And we did, of course, plot that, analyze it, and we were looking for an ultimate downside target there of 23.4 thousand. Now, we didn't reach that target. That was a miss. The head and shoulders did play out, though. We did get a pretty significant movement down to previous resistance that we had established on the first leg up in the rally, and that is now our new support level as far as prices go above that. So 25,000, very critical support level. Breaking 25,000, of course, is going to be pretty negative. I think a lot of people are going to begin selling just based off of the fact that we've broken such a critical support level. And it will be, I think, significantly more difficult to get another rally for this year if we actually do fall below 25K. It could still happen, but it becomes significantly less likely. Okay, get out of here. Get out of here. Come on. It becomes significantly less. Oh my God, this fly is killing me. All right. So we had this little head and oh my God, dude, he's voracious. Wow. All right. So we had this head and shoulders pattern play out, not as we did a measured move, of course. So it didn't make it to the measured move, but we traded briefly below. And I've also talked about this, of course, ad nauseum. So let's throw my classic PTP trading strategy on here. And well, not that. I talked about quite at length when Bitcoin on this week, so about a month ago, when Bitcoin broke down below the Hall moving average 60 on the weekly time frame, I presented the analysis and said that, well, okay, every time this has happened since 2017, we continue moving down for at least one candle, and it's typically a significant movement. The only exception to that is this right here. It already happened this year. This is the only exception since 2017. Go throw it on your chart, go back test it yourself. Every single time on the weekly time frame, we close below the Hall moving average 60. We keep going down. and it's worth the time. It's worth your while to take at least a short-term short. With the only exception being the week of June 12th, 2023, which is a very important date to me. Yeah. Moving on. Getting back into the daily and foregoing the indicators for now. So yes, extremely similar price action, same level of support that we found ourselves in, and we're finally getting a more significant reaction. We have the same kind of alley-oop screw you movement that we had, right there. We have that same multiple drives down pattern here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 drives. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 drives down. All right, before bloop, 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 bloop. And again, even the sweep is the same, where we actually crash through the lows, hit all the liquidations, and then pump. Even that's the same. Low, 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 bam, lower, low, right there, tagging all the liquidity. And also, I just pointed this out because I think it's slightly interesting. This trend line had projected from the head and shoulders pattern, and this is exactly where we found ourselves finding support. So I don't think that really means anything. It's certainly not part of my analysis, nor does it make any part of my financial decisions, but it's just interesting. So, and as a trader who just charts all day, these are the things that I like to talk about. And you're watching the show, so you're going to hear about them. All right, moving right along. Now, because of all of this, because of this analysis, because of this significant movement off of support here, and because of the similarity to the previous price pattern, and because of the fact that we're actually getting a long signal on the daily time frame here, Minx, Wada Atar, and baseline, all very nice and good. In fact, we have this beautiful reversal baseline bounce here. We peek our heads up, boom, chunk right back down to the baseline and off to the races. That's another setup that I teach people how to take. But because of all of this, I actually have now positioned myself into a swing long. And I think it's definitely worth the risk. I've actually taken more risk on this trade than I would normally do, 5 times as much risk as I would normally do in a regular position. So I am a 2% risk per trade trader, and this is a 10% risk per trade that I have now taken. All right. So the outcome will be, obviously the reward will be very nice. The downside will be 5 times worse than a normal position, but also the risk management here is very nice because as you'll see, I've got my stop loss down here in the high 23,000s. And that's obviously if price comes down here, this entire case is eradicated unless we're just going to get alley-ooped by the market again. And we're actually going to make another lower low before alley-ooping up. It is what it is. You can't account for everything, but as you guys will know, those who have been following me for quite a long time know that I use a pretty novel risk management system. So not only do I set a stop loss, I also have multiple factors that will compel me to get out of a trade if the market is no longer moving in my favor, because I am by nature a trend following trader. And that, of course, would be closing back down below the baseline. So a daily close below like 25,000, again, would be invalidating this idea. And we'd be looking for that exit early, thus preserving quite a bit of capital because we'd be exiting at more than half of the distance to the stop loss from current price. Now, you don't have to run out and market enter. That's what I did. I just market entered, right? And, prices come down a little bit. So whatever. I'm not too worried about intraday fluctuations or anything like that with this particular position. We certainly could get a better position. It would make me feel very good about my position if we just kept roaring up here. But that's typically not the way things go. So I've positioned and being patient, and we'll see how things play out. All right, man, let's do it. Profit bear, 5x leverage. Put it all on black, baby. Or blue in this case, or orange, I guess, Bitcoin. Yeah, moving on. Okay, let's talk about targets. Everyone wants to know about targets. Where are we going? So just very simple. I've used a combination of Quadriga ATR, which is an indicator that I've created using a concept that's very common among trend following traders, using multiples of the average true range to look for logical places to take profits, as well as the volume profile, looking at where liquidity is concentrated in the markets, or where it has in the past anyways. And that's how I've got our current targets. We've got roughly the low 28,000s, 28,374, the around 32,000, actually looking for a new all-time high for this year, and then 36,000, which again, this analysis, I don't want to take full credit for this because this was done, all of this kind of construction was also done upon conferring with our senior analyst, Alexander. And, he had originally predicted a $36,000 top for Bitcoin this year. And, we're just trying to give him what he wants, right? Excuse me. And I apologize, by the way, apologize for the late start today, guys. Today is late start Wednesday for school. So I did wake up an hour later, and I hadn't really accounted for that because the school thing is still kind of new. And I had the stream originally scheduled for 12 my time, 2 p.m. on the Eastern Seaboard. And then like 5 minutes before I'm about to hit the live button, I'm all set up and everything, right? My wife like comes out and she, I hadn't eaten all day and today was a lifting day. So I was starving and she's like, hey, I made tacos. And I'm like, I better eat before I do the show. Cause otherwise I'm not going to eat until like tonight because I've got the show and then I've got to get ready for the mentoring and then I've got a one-on-one session. And then, yeah, it's just, okay. So and I'll be day trading all day. So I just won't end up eating. So now we've got a taco full belly and black tea. Life's good. Life's good. All right, back to the charts. Okay. What else to talk about here on the 4 hour? So since we are long biased, we will switch down to the 4 hour, and now we are going to enter into our what I like to call our reversal system. We're not necessarily looking for reversals, but we're just looking for potential trades within our overall structure. Because let's say we take a long trade, right? Well, that doesn't mean we can't just do anything. We have to sit on our hands with Bitcoin for the next X amount of months. It just means there are going to be lots of different time frame trades within that same period. We could even take other daily time frame trades, right, within that same period. So it just depends on, how much testing you've done with your strategies and, overall what kind of risk profile you're trying to run with your trading account. Here on the 4 hour time frame, we can just see this multiple 3 drives up towards our resistance level here, and 26,374. And, obviously this breaks would be quite good. 4 hour volatility, we got a contraction here and a little pop. We got a little contraction here and a little pop. Volatility is now expanded because we moved back up into the upper boundary of the Bollinger Bands here. So obviously the trades here potentially are looking for the breakout of 26.5. 26.5 would be a good breakout trade to take. We could also just remain inside this range. However, it would be incredibly bullish if we do remain above 25.8 that we've now recovered following this last kind of fake out drive. Now, also notice that we did get an ISA spot long here. Same thing, Minx long here. So looking very good. We're not really overbought, right? We're quite a bit of ways away from being overbought. We did actually make a higher high on that push. So we did break resistance here. We did wick above it. We haven't sustained ourselves above it. But again, we've now driven down. We have a higher low, and now we are looking for a higher high overall to confirm this bullish uptrend. On the 1 hour, things look well. Okay, we had a little bit of contraction of volatility here. We've now expanded. Overall, it is a Wednesday. We did get that CPI data, so I don't want to get like too over my skis, of course, right? I don't want to get like too bombed out just because we had a bullish movement on CPI data that was actually positive, and now everything's just going to reset. That is entirely possible, but that's certainly something to consider. So overall, same thing on the hourly, looking kind of for that break of 26.5. 26.3 is obviously very interesting here as well. And we're going to start explaining these red lines and these blue boxes here as we move down to the 15-minute time frame. And here we will put our intraday system on and we will begin explaining things as far as our day trade setups go. So two-day I had I took so many trades yesterday and I had a great winning day yesterday. Hey, big, huge shout out to Profit Bear. You are the man. You have been a member for 32 months, my man. You know what, Profit Bear? You're the man, brother. You are absolutely the man. We got to do something special for you. I don't know what it is. I can't think of something special for you right now, but I'm going to put my head together with the guys and we're going to think of something special for you, dude. Thank you so much for all the support. And it is viewers like you who inspire me to keep coming and doing the show every day. So thank you so much, man. And I hope that your life has been better for making me a part of it. Thank you. All right, 15-minute time frame. We've had some nice volatility from Bitcoin over the last couple of days, which has been nice because it's been so brutal lately. It's just been grinding and nothing. Any hoosers, 15-minute time frame. We got this nice drive up. We weren't actually able to take out the high that we established yesterday, which was the higher high. We just pushed back up and fell a little bit short of it. No huge big trends. Obviously we did get this nice bullish push. We had a nice bearish down movement here. We are now below the point of control. So just a nice return to the point of control. And, I was looking at these areas of interest, right? I did short from this level here and I had a successful trade this morning. So I was wrong. My first trade was successful. And then I tried a couple of longs here, right here for my support level. That didn't play out. That support level was broken and it's now flipped into resistance. So we have our first area of interest here, which is our low liquidity zone zone, which I typically use for targets, but they're also good entries as well. So this is going to be the range between 25,932 and 26,070. So this is a very interesting area to look for potential entries. As you can see, this is a big low volume node, so not a lot of volume was conducted in here. So therefore, it is very likely that price returns to these areas to test the temerity of the buyers and sellers at this price level. So since the long has failed here, the setups that I am now currently looking at is if we are able to break resistance here, which has now been flipped at 26,150, I will be looking for a long position intraday. I will be looking for a breakout of 26,377 intraday for a long position. Otherwise, I will be initially looking to short price at that level for a pullback. So I'm looking for long entries here in this level, and we have to be discretionary now because a specific price target is not possible because it is a zone. So we will have to monitor price action and look for what I typically like to see, which is some oversold conditions. And also what I'd like to point out, like a breakdown below the lower boundary of the Bollinger Band here with an oversold condition, maybe a buy signal from ISISbot would be very, very perfect for me now, especially if I see a big drop in open interest. I'm scooping that up. So we're just getting some consolidation here, down here, directly underneath the point of control, directly underneath the SR level, and right above the zone that we really kind of want to enter at. So what might happen in this zone? Well, price could come down here, give me the signal, I will take the long, and then it could go up. That would be great. Or price could just completely chunk back down through this level. We do, of course, have a mild point of interest here at 25,932, but I'm overall not too interested in that level because that's just the bottom of the boundary here. And if we lose that, then we're going to break down to this consolidation level as well. So zone of interest here, the next zone of interest is going to be 25,807. That is our next support level where I would be looking for potential longs. And losing 25,807, then we're pretty much shorting down to our blue box territory, which is going to be from 25,431. to 25,584. Feel free to just rewind this if you want to get all these numbers. And I apologize, but this is the way I think about the market. I've had all morning to get this ready. And yeah, so we'll be looking for potential longs here, losing this level. Of course, we have our next two zones. The only two zones that I'm really looking at of interest right now, 22,222 or 25,222 and 25,300. With an SR level at 25,165, 163. So those are the areas of interest. And again, just the way that we can play these levels is when price enters into low volume node zones, we need to use discretion and we need to identify price action or signals that indicate a potential signal to buy. I'm interested in buying in these zones and taking price to the upside. And then we need to look for, and we can also use these as targets as well, right? So again, when you short up here at an SR level, we took profit at our support level. I actually took a little bit of early profit on that. I'm not going to lie. But you want to look at taking profits at SR levels or profits in zones because zones tend to act as magnets and they like to pull price towards them. All right. So we are now seeing actually price pushing up above the SR level, which I am interested in potentially longing. I'm also interested in that as well because we have a big spike in volatility here on the 15-minute time frame. That's usually pretty key for a reversal. So let's actually go down here to the 1-minute chart and see. Yeah, so yeah, potential breakout here. We are kind of pushing up here on the 1-minute time frame. Probably worth taking the long, which we will do. I'll show you guys exactly how this looks when I am copy trading. Yep, so we got a little pushback, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to take the position anyways. We are going to go in for 5% of our margin and 25x leverage, and we're just going to go. Yeah, that's it. Pretty simple, right? We're going to set our stop loss right here at 26,076. Looks good. Oh, sorry. Before we set that, let's actually just go determine where we want to be taking profits. Probably directly below the point of control here. So 26,222. And so we will just add our 26,222. Obviously, last price for take profit. And then I can't remember what the price level was now for the SL. 26,076. 26,076, and yeah, we will be leaving that as the mark price. Yes, mark price for stop loss, last price for take profit. Why? Because we don't want to get wicked out of, which 99% of the time it doesn't matter what you set, mark price or last price. This is just my preference and what I've seen to be successful for me over the years. Okay, so what is the setup that we're currently looking at right here? All right, well, we saw on the 15-minute time frame that price had come down to the top of our zone, was trading again below our SR level. But then we saw price move to push up and break out above that SR level. We went down to the 1 minute time frame and saw that price was attempting to break out of the upper boundary of the 1 minute Bollinger Band. That looks good. We also, back on the 15-minute time frame, we have oversold conditions, not a buy signal, but oversold conditions, and as well as price at the bottom boundary of the Bollinger Bands and a big spike in volatility, right? So big spikes in volatility are typically moments when the market is going to reverse. If we zoom down to the 1 minute, something we could have looked at but didn't necessarily look at was, were there any big drops in open interest here? No, just like a slow grind out of open interest throughout this level. All right. So in the event that this trade doesn't work, and that we actually, if this trade doesn't work out, then we should have shorted from that level down into that zone that I was talking about, right? The zone that's directly beneath us. So those are the two possibilities. Obviously, the trade's either going to win or the trade's going to lose. Currently looking like we are not actually getting that breakout right now, but we are in the position. We're just going to be patient. We don't really modify what we do based on price action, right? We either make money or we lose money, and we just keep doing that over and over and over again, because consistency is what makes you money in the markets. Just being consistent and doing the same thing. Who needs food? Jesus didn't eat for 40 days. Yeah, but I thought I'd be able to think of something like super funny based on that, but I actually can't. I got nothing. Engineering, thanks so much for the subscription on YouTube, my friend. Highly appreciated, and welcome to the family. All right, so yeah, that's basically Bitcoin in a nutshell and what we've got going on. So we're just going to chill for now, and let's start talking about all the stuff of interest. All right, so let's see if I can pull the relevant link up here, but no. I think this might be it. Yeah. Okay, so I found this article. This is not the article that I initially read, but this is from the Financial Review. And essentially, hold on a sec, guys. I want to actually switch the scene over to here. And you guys are seeing my... I have a session with you. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You must... maybe I just don't know your YouTube name. Anyways, we are not looking at the Discord right now. We should be looking at the... Nope, wrong one. There we go. There we go. So from the Financial Review, essentially what this article is going to tell you is that there has been a significant shift, or, not a shift, but there's just been this huge downtrend in investor sentiment towards the Chinese economy. And we've reported a lot on the Chinese economy and the implications on the cryptocurrency markets, as well as the global economy as well. But the projections for how many investors essentially believe that China will have a stronger economy 12 months from now is actually at zero. So let's actually see if we can get that chart. No, it isn't in the Discord though. So I guess we're back to the Discord. We will be looking at the Discord, and I will just pull up my market update that I put out this morning. Here it is. So this is from his actual report. This is the net percent of FMS investors that are expecting a stronger Chinese economy within the next 12 months. As you guys can see, earlier this year in February of 2023, it was at 78%. So in February, everybody was very bullish about China. And now we've come down to literally 0%. As of September 2023, which is lower. We haven't seen anything lower than this since September 2022, basically when we had that kind of re-lockdown crisis. So not super great. Let's see here. Also, in addition to that, Let's see here. This is going to come from US News, but whatever. JP Morgan is expecting no further Fed interest rate hikes this cycle, and this is obviously an idea that's percolating quite a lot among the investing community. And we've all personally, I've been feeling this for quite a while. That essentially, the economy does look like it's on the road to recovery as far as key metrics go. Obviously, life down here on the ground is not so sweet, but as far as the metrics go, things are actually looking quite positive. So there's really no need for them to be so aggressive moving forward with their rate hikes, which, guys, I know a lot of you don't want to pay attention to, macroeconomics. It's boring, blah, 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 CPI and year over year and all this stuff. What does it even mean? And you don't really need to understand all that stuff. Of course, knowledge is power, but all you need to really understand is inflation go up, markets go down, inflation go down, markets go up. Typically is this is just the common idea. Okay. And the fact that, or, more specifically, interest rate go up, market go down, interest rate go down, market go up is more specifically because when the interest rate goes down, it's just so much easier for cash and credit to flow in the system. And, most people are responsible with that, and that leads to bust cycles. But, the booms are nice if you know how to ride them. So what this means is that we are gearing up. We are greasing the wheels to actually have a kind of final push upwards or a continued push upwards, moving forward, that we're not doomed into the immediate mid-cycle lull, right? You guys know my opinion on Bitcoin. I've obviously charted out my 4-year plan for Bitcoin many, many times, and I've shared that many, many times, so I won't rehash that here. But in summary, that we would have a rally here in 2023, that the FTX bottom was the capitulation bottom, that we're likely not going lower than that, that we will have a rally. We've had the rally. Maybe we're going to continue the rally is what I'm suggesting. That following the rally, there will be a slow grind down that will culminate in a final capitulation event that should not go below the previous low established by the FTX collapse. So we should never see below $15,000 Bitcoin. And then as we move into the halving early next year, we will pump into 2025, maybe even early 2026. And that, of course, selling your bags on the way up. But with this, the stock market is likely to continue climbing. I mean, all the projections that I'm seeing is for a new all-time high in the stock market by end of year. And if that happens, it's very unlikely that crypto is going to tumble while the stock market moves up, especially if tech stocks move up. So I think if tech stocks continue to move up, if the NASDAQ continues to move up, then I think crypto is going to continue moving up as well. And NASDAQ's been moving up pretty well. So I think that we are greasing the wheels for a continued rally to potentially $36,000. Let's see here. Next. Let me see if I can find an article on this. Okay. Excuse me. So if you guys were unaware, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis started a little web series called Stoner Cats, and they sold a bunch of NFTs for this project. And I haven't seen it. I'm not super familiar with it. I just literally heard about it today. But the SEC had, opened up a case with them, or, filed a complaint against them saying, that they had defrauded investors and all this kind of stuff because they sold 10,330 NFTs. Mila Kunis's Orchard Farm Productions made the NFTs. All right. The company behind the show, Stoner Cats 2 LLC, did not admit wrongdoing. But it is a notable loss for the notion of so-called utility NFTs, tokens that provide access to some content or service. Let's see here. Okay, so there were 6 episodes of the show. They could only be viewed by holders of a Stoner Cat NFT. At launch, each NFT cost about $800. The initial sale sold out, but it was a bit of a mess. And they were going to make a DAO and generate more content, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there was a royalty and all this stuff. Let's see here. They did not fight in courts. They agreed to pay a $1 million fine and destroy all the NFTs that they hold. And so if you guys wanted to watch six short, cheap cartoons that were only viewable on the web for $800, hey, you got it. You know what I'm saying? So just fun, just, a little bit more and, overall, I think the trend here seems to be that they are coming or our celebrities, right? With the FTX bombshell that dropped, we now know that, let me make sure I'm on the right scene, right? With the FTX bombshell that dropped, we now know, for example, that, you know, so many celebrities got massive payouts for endorsing FTX, and not even our celebrities are safe. Like, what is happening to this world? US CPI came out today. All right, so CPI came out today. It was the biggest increase in U.S. inflation in 14 months, but overall, I think it's positive. And here's the thing, right? I think that's misleading because we've seen a massive explosion in the price of oil and gasoline, and that is what is, and also rent to a much smaller degree, and that is mostly what's responsible for this like largest increase in 14 months. But the core still shows that inflation is slowing, and that is exactly why the Fed is considering pausing and even potentially pivoting. By as early as next year, excuse me. Oh, Jesus. So, yeah, prices were up 0.6%. What was it? Yeah, so the yearly rate of inflation moved up to 3.7% last month from 3.2% in July. And core was at 4.3 from 4.7. So yeah, core is moving down, which is really all we care about. Core lets us know like where things are going. CPI lets us know like usually where things are. So again, kind of the difference between looking at current price action versus a moving average for a signal. The moving average is typically going to be more reliable. So again, I think that I saw a lot of these articles like, yeah, and like headlines like this, oh, this is so bad. But overall, I think the real news is that things are pretty positive and that the economy is actually improving. Unfortunately, we do have this oil and gasoline thing. And I think the Fed will have to make some tough decisions if oil continues to climb here. But that's not for us to talk about. Now, as you guys probably know, if you're following me on Twitter, or if you're just in crypto in general, cryptocurrency exchange CoinEx was hacked. Excuse me again. What is the deal here? Oh, all right, my VPN. I got my VPN on. All right, so this is actually a little out of date. Yeah, this is from yesterday, but yesterday, quite a lot of blockchain watchers, kind of reported on Twitter well before CoinEx made any announcement that their wallets were being drained, that their hot wallets were being drained. And they were. And yesterday, the report was that it was like $37 million, I do believe. But as of this morning, as far as the analysis on Twitter goes, it's $54 million. Now, CoinEx has suspended all withdrawals and deposits. And they have said that they are going to be making customers whole again. Everybody will be made whole, but it remains to see like exactly how that's going to work and who the actual culprit is that is responsible. Now, of course, I would put my money on who seems to be behind all of these major exchange hacks lately, and that would be the North Korean hacktivist group. Not hacktivist, they're not hacktivists. They're just straight up state-sanctioned hackers. The Lazarus Group. All right, so more information coming on that soon. Now, let me check the chat real quick. Hey Magnus, good to see you, my friend. All right, so listen, guys. I'm gonna need you to brace yourself for what's gonna come next. All right, and I'm not kidding, and I'm sure you guys are probably like aware of this. And I'm not trying to like engagement farm or click farm, otherwise I would have put it in the title. But Mexico just held a congressional hearing, and the congressional hearing was about aliens. Not human aliens, alien aliens. Mexico has unveiled several bodies that certainly appear to be alien in origin in Congress, in front of the entire world, broadcast for everybody to see, saying that they recovered these several years ago and they've been doing lots of forensic studies and scientific studies on them. And today they had this huge hearing where they had the forensic scientists and everybody come out and do their whole thing. All the documents are available online, and I'm going to be directing you to those in just a second. But this is huge. So we're just going to go over this like real quick because it's not crypto relevant, but it's just so fascinating. So here we go. Yeah, we're going to go to We're going to go to Reddit. This is what I want you guys. This is probably the most interesting read. I'm actually going to drop this in the chat right now. So this is a link to the Reddit thread where someone has translated. Of course, they were speaking in Spanish. So for those of you who aren't Spanish fluent, you can read this entire translation of what exactly was said. This is Jose de Jesus Zalce Benitez. He's a forensic science specialist. He goes on in great detail here to describe exactly everything about the bodies, their x-rays, the tomography, everything, microscopic analysis. Yeah, I mean, Reddit, everything is like the internet is going insane about this. Like, so if you haven't heard about this, like you are not plugged in. All right. You're not plugged in, and you need to review what your daily schedule looks like for ingesting news and what's going on in the world. These bodies date back 1,000 years, and they were found with diatomic powder on top of them, which allowed them to preserve themselves pretty well and also prevent bacteria and fungi from going on them. So I'm just going to read this kind of final paragraph here. He states in his final sentence here, in conclusion, and for all the, and again, I just want to be very, very clear about this. This is not some crackpot on a YouTube channel. This is a respected forensic scientist called to testify in front of Mexican Congress for an announcement to the entire world. Like, Mexico is huge grandstanding here. He says, in conclusion, and for all the above, we can say that these bodies are from a non-human species that has irrefutable differences with what is described in the biology and taxonomy of the Darwinian species evolution tree, without a common or traceable predecessor or without a descent. And I can affirm then that these bodies are 100% real, organic, and biological, that at the time they had life and are irrefutable evidence in themselves. We are facing the paradigm of describing a new species, or the opportunity to accept that there has been contact with other non-human beings that were drawn and pointed out in the past in various cultures throughout the world, such as Peru, Egypt, and Mexico, and that today we can accept their existence among and with us. Thank you very much. Now, I am, and of course, if you just read through the comments, you're gonna see all the links to the pictures and whatnot. But and you can watch the full thing. It's probably on YouTube. But when I was younger, I was a big, conspiracy theory guy, and I obviously leaned very far to the left as well, perhaps not related, but over the last 5 years, I've certainly become significantly more of a skeptic, right? And, I just recently started reading Cixin Liu's Remembrances of Humanity's Past trilogy, which starts with the three-body problem. You've probably heard of the three-body problem, which is actually going to be actually has been adapted into a series, which will be debuting in January of 2024 on Netflix. And Netflix adaptations of sci-fi are very hit and miss, but the trailer looked pretty good. Except for the fact that in Cixin Liu's book, like, just about everybody is Chinese. Like, there are a few, like white side characters, but of course in the Netflix show, everybody pretty much looks white. So we'll see about that. But this is really fascinating. This is the first time really that we've seen a large government entity announced to the world that, yeah, aliens are real and we have proof of it. And here it is with all the scientists and stuff, right? So, obviously the UFO community is very large. The disclosure community is very large, all the things with Roswell and everything. So I'm certainly more of a skeptic, and, I'm not a trained scientist. I'm very scientific in nature. But, from everything that I hear from the few people that I've talked to about this morning, like, this does seem to be pretty much the real deal. And, I will reserve my judgment. It is just, of course, very fun to talk about and speculate about. So I bring this to you in the spirit of speculation. So let me know what you guys think in the chat, in the comments. This is just, it's fascinating, right, to think. And, does it really change anything? Like, probably not. But, again, we'll see. And the last link I will share with you is this. I will also drop this in the chat. If you guys want the official links to all the documents, this is directly from the governmental website, right? Here we go. And these were all the documents that were discussed in the in the congressional hearing, right? So this individual has posted the links to all of the governmental websites where they are available. And therefore, in the sake of brevity, I will just simply post one link to that link so that you can see. So this is, it's fascinating. It's fun. It's awesome. does this, what does this mean like for us, right? Like, I myself, I'm sure like many of you, like I've looked up into the stars many times and wondered like, are we alone? I've wondered many times, like how much life would change if we were to experience contact with other species for the good or for the bad. And what this does suggest though, is that so it's called the Fermi paradox, right? If you guys aren't familiar with this. The Fermi paradox is the idea that if there are so many observable stars and galaxies in the universe, and that based on what we can see, there are many planets, a multitude of planets that would support biological life, therefore life is likely to be very prevalent throughout the galaxy, why do we not see any signs of life when we look out into the stars? And to return to Shish and Lu's, so that's the Fermi paradox, right? If life is probably, from what we can see and understand about the universe, very likely to exist in many different places, why do we not see signs of life everywhere we look? We just see death. We don't see anything. We just see inert organic material. Obviously, Shish and Lu's idea is this: it's called the veil of the chain of suspicion. The idea that, and this just goes back, right? The idea, you've heard this many times, but the idea that when one technologically superior species or race encounters another or an inferior technologically or an inferior species or race, well, they typically get wiped out or enslaved. It's just nature. So the idea is that any species that reveals itself to exist, like we've sent so many things out into the sky that's like, hey, we're over here. Well, they tend to get wiped out because they eventually come across a species that is giga overpowered to them. So that's a terrifying idea. But if this is true, and these things are 1,000 years old, obviously it posits a lot of questions. But what we do know is that it seems that there was once, if this is true, it seems that there was once extraterrestrial life here, and then we're still here. So that could just be a blip. Maybe it takes them 1 million years to get here, and that was like the first people. And they've already sent the beacon like, hey, yeah, there's people here, come kill them. Like, we're good. And we're obviously not going to make it back, but we'll just lay down and die. And it's just a matter of time before the Vogon ships show up and blow us up to make way for an intergalactic highway. Those of you Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fans out there. Or what it means is that, peaceful, somewhat cohabitation is possible. Right? So anyways, it's a firm. All right. Anyways, that's enough about aliens, guys. Let's get into crypto stuff. And we pretty much talked about everything about Bitcoin that I wanted to talk about. So let's just get in and see. It looks like we had a losing trade, actually, unfortunately. Yeah. So it looks like we got kind of scammed out of that trade right there. Yeah, we got scammed out of that trade. That's a bummer. So let's go back to the chart and let's think about our next potential setup here. We're going to switch to the big screen now. Here we go. And we're going to have to, cut this. I got a few more minutes left in the show because I do have to prepare for today's mentoring session. So what is going on? Why will you not just, there we go. Reset chart. That was frustrating. So what's happened here? Okay. So we drove down, broke below the lower boundary of the Bollinger Band there. Let's go to the 15-minute time frame and see kind of what we got. So I think we were probably right with our trade there, but we were just a little too early, unfortunately. So we are still underneath that point of control. Our trade thesis wasn't correct so far because our trade thesis was on the idea that we were going to imminently break above the point of control. That did not happen. We are still consolidating beneath the point of control. So we're still in the exact same place, right? Volatility still peaked here, so there still is a potential trade on the table. We are now starting to see that open interest drop. Of course, we've seen that steady drop of open interest. So again, still looking at where we're at, I am mostly interested in looking for a long position from here. And so now that we're actually getting that movement up, are we now more inclined to take the position? So we were here previously, and then we chunked down. I really just don't think there's any I think that after attempting this trade once, it would probably be foolish to take it again. So now I'm going to employ a principle that is also very key to my success, particularly on lower timeframes, which is just being patient. Typically once I've tried a trade setup once, I don't really like to jump back in, because this just gets you, it's a bad habit, right? Like if price comes down and you buy thinking it's going to go up and price is low when you buy, and then it keeps dipping, like the dip keeps on dipping. And then you're like, oh, okay, well now I got a little bit better price. I'm going to buy a little bit more. And then it keeps dipping and I'll buy a little bit more. That's fine for like dollar cost average investing. Like when you're not going to actually resolve it for weeks, if not months, if not years, potentially. But when you're intraday trading, like that is the worst thing you can do. Like take a position and either your stop loss gets hit or take profit. Like that's it. Just in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Don't worry about being wrong. Just play the numbers game. You take 1,000 trades, and if you're profitable 55% of the time, you're going to make money. So that's really all there is to it. So we're just going to be patient. What's our next area of interest? Of course, we could always be looking for on the docket, of course, since we have just barely tapped into this huge supply zone, untested levels between 25,940 and 26,075. The option to short down into that zone is, of course, attractive and something we could be considering. If we move up to the point of control and reject from there again, that will probably be the setup that we're looking for. Again, this is starting to look like a good long. I'm not going to be taking it. There's no reason for me to take it. There's going to be plenty of other trades. But you guys can see, like, again, our idea was right. We were just a little too early, maybe a little too aggressive with our stop loss, a little too tight with our stop loss. And that's okay. These things are going to happen. And the best thing for you to do is just to not kill yourself about them, right? Journal about them, identify exactly what went wrong, and see. That's why journaling is so important, because it's one, like sometimes shit just happens, right? Like, market, two side stop loss, things happen, right? But if you notice that being a consistent problem over many of your trades, that, if you notice that your stop loss gets hit and then price moves in your favor, then there's something wrong with your stop loss placement, or maybe not your stop loss placement, but exactly where you're entering, right? You're entering too late, all right? Usually is if your stop loss is getting hit and then the movement still occurs. So ain't nothing to do here. We will just be patient. The next area of interest, of course, is now going to be our point of control, which is up at about 26,237, 234. So we will look for rejection from there. There is, of course, the possibility to look for that short down into that zone, 26,010. That's definitely on the table. Okay. And then, of course, rewind the tape if you guys want to see the overall projections and analysis for why Bitcoin can move up to 36,000 by the end of the year. And yeah, that's about all we got, guys. We're going to wrap the show up. I want to thank you guys so much for coming and joining me today on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I hope that your days are filled with green candles and profits, or red candles if you're going short, but profits nonetheless. If you guys want to support what we're doing and keep us afloat, you guys got to subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm notices us, so please support us by doing that. If you are interested in copy trading me, the link is down in the description. If you are interested in signing up for our premium trading group and receiving all of our insights in alpha, the link for that is down in the description. That is our main website, crackingcryptocurrency.com. And whatever you do, make sure to join our Discord so that you can keep up with us long after the show is over. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Thursday, so we'll be back tomorrow. We will be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow instead of whatever time it is now. I think we started at 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Or 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, where I happen to be in the lovely, colorful Colorado. I will see you guys tomorrow. As always, trade safely, and please leave your questions and comments below, and I will see you in the Discord. Cheers now.